Hi everybody, it's Dan, Sad Panda Games, or as I was going, Z. Either way, doesn't matter. Call me what you want. I don't care. It's a terrible opening, but I'm leaving it in. Anyway, so this is, I'm sure you'll tell by the title, whatever I end up deciding to title this. I haven't actually decided right now, but this is going to be my opinion on subscription services and microtransactions. And I haven't seen, I've seen a lot of people over the past few years talk about differences between and subscriptions and the differing opinions on subscription services with video gaming as well as microtransactions in video games. So first I'm going to talk about subscription services. So I personally don't like subscription services very much. I don't like them in a lot of instances. I don't like them. For example, things like the PlayStation Plus, Xbox Live Gold, now Nintendo's online play. I'm not sure what it's called because I don't currently own a Switch, so I don't know because I haven't actually experienced it myself. I just personally don't like that you charge, or that these companies charge people for online access on a console that they already purchased and that they already pay for an internet service at home. As someone who pays for their own internet service, I can honestly say that my internet service is much too expensive to go with to have the added cost, even yearly, of these subscription services. So I don't like console subscription services because I don't believe they should charge for something that you already have access to, being the internet itself, right? I don't think that they should be able to charge for that. This is, again, my personal opinion on this. I don't think they should be able to charge for it because you're already paying for the internet access at home. You already purchased the console. You already purchased the game that you're wanting to play online with your friends. And now you are stuck at another paywall simply because they need to make more money, I guess. Now, there are instances in where I can understand subscription services and even somewhat stand behind them. But that is when it's done for specific games. What I'm talking about is like MMORPGs like World of Warcraft and things like that that have subscription-based models for their games. Now, I don't particularly favor their subscription-based model. What I do like, excuse me. What I do like is something more along the lines of like Guild Wars 2. While I don't actually play Guild Wars 2 anymore, the game really just wasn't my cup of tea. But I did play it for a while, and the way they do their subscription services, you buy the game, right? You pay the price for the game, and then you have free online play unless you want to subscribe to get more access to different things that are not available to free users. While that does seem like locking off content behind a paywall, it's one that I can somewhat understand. Yes, you already purchased the game, but the fees that you're paying to this particular company, they're not going to the console creators of like Xbox, Microsoft, or Nintendo, or any of those. It's going to the creators of the game so that they can maintain the servers for online play. And it's the same way with World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, the only reason why I kind of stand behind it is because of the fact that those particular fees that you pay every month to Blizzard for World of Warcraft play actually pays to keep the servers for not only World of Warcraft, but all of their other games up and running. So while I don't necessarily like it that much, I can understand why it's a necessity, and it also allows them to keep the other games that you don't have to pay for an online access on very much free, like Diablo 3 and Overwatch and StarCraft. They're all free to play online simply because people already pay for World of Warcraft. Now, I understand it in specific games. For consoles, I don't. One of the reasons for this is a good example for this is another one of those MMORPGs that I like so much, being Final Fantasy XIV Online: A Realm Reborn. I say A Realm Reborn because the original iteration wasn't that great, but A Realm Reborn is actually pretty good, and I have played quite a bit of it, and I do actually like the game. I don't necessarily play it all that much anymore, simply because I let my subscription go bye-bye personally, but that's just because of my own monetary issues, and not necessarily because I don't like the game. But Final Fantasy XIV is another game that is a cross-platform game. Well, it's not cross-platform. I don't believe it's cross-platform play, but it's cross-platform where as in it released on multiple platforms. It's not a PC-only game like World of Warcraft is. Instead, it is on a bunch of different platforms. Most notably, the one that I played it on before I got it for PC was I played it at a friend's house on his PlayStation 4. So while that game came out for PS4, I asked them, okay, wait a second. You're paying, the 50 odd dollars or whatever it is a year for PlayStation Plus, and now you also have to pay the fee for online on Final Fantasy 14? Wait, that doesn't seem right. So now you're paying your internet company. You're also paying Sony for their online service, and then you're also paying for Final Fantasy XIV's online play. So when you add that all up, you're probably definitely paying over $100 at least a month, based on possibly like the average internet cost across the country. You're probably paying over $100 for all three. In fact, I would almost guarantee that you are, depending on certain situations where you might pay less for your internet. Now, for someone like a teenager who may not pay for their own internet and their parents pay for it instead, and maybe they have a job to be able to pay for their own subscription fees other than the internet, for them it may not be an issue to be able to pay for an online subscription through your console as well as for the subscription fee for that particular game that you're playing, because it doesn't the cost of everything doesn't really come across. For someone like me who actually does all of it, you start to see where you're throwing your money away. And that is what it is to me, is it seems like these online services, the supposed bonuses that you get for getting these online services through the console providers, are not living up to, being able to pay for it. Sure, both Xbox and PlayStation give you quote-unquote free games every month, or whatever it is, whenever they roll over, for having this PlayStation purchase or this Xbox purchase of this online service. And they also give you bonus discounts on other games. The thing that you would actually buy. The thing is that a lot of the time the free games are usually older games. I very rarely see any games that are from the same year be put on there personally. The only time I got excited and told my friends about it was when Bloodborne went on there as a free game, and told them, hey, jump on this. It saves you $20, I guess. If you already have PlayStation Plus, go right ahead. They don't have to pay the $20 for that game if they went and bought it at like GameStop or Walmart or wherever they still physically sell it for $20. And that's the only time that I ever got excited about it, because that's personally a game that I love for the system and wanted to be able to play with my friends. And they didn't really want to pay the money for the game, mainly because they'd already paid for the online service, and their online service is almost the cost of a brand new AAA title. Granted, that's one a year that you have to pay, one time a year that you have to pay for that. And a lot of my friends wait for a Black Friday sale to be able to get those cards cheaper. I myself, for my PlayStation, if I get PlayStation Plus at any point, I have let my subscription run out a few different times, and then bought a month here or a month there, and decided that that was worth it for me at that particular time. But I normally also wait for a Black Friday sale to be able to get like the 1 year. Instead of paying $49.99 or whatever, I end up paying like $35. So it saves me a little bit more money, and I feel like I can constitute a little better having that kind of sale on it. But at the regular price, it doesn't seem like it's worth it to me, even with the free games and the discounts on other games that you would buy anyway. because you're still paying them out of pocket every year. Granted, it's not a lot of money, but it is one game sale basically every year. So instead of having that, they could possibly sell, instead of having that subscription service, they could also possibly sell one more game to these customers every year. The thing is, which one makes more money? And that's where it hits them. Is the subscription service would be a lot more advantageous for them to have from a money-making standpoint, which makes sense. It makes money. It makes consistent money because people buy it every 12 months and they continue to buy it so that they can have online play access with their friends so they can actually play multiplayer on the games that they want to play multiplayer on. Now, I don't like that. I play majority of the games that I play are on my computer or PC. And I only have to pay an online subscription fee for games that blatantly tell you that they have an online subscription fee. And a lot of those games nowadays, actually, a lot of them end up being free to play. Like you can download the game for free or for extremely cheap, such as, say, one of them that I actually do like, being Black Desert Online. That one is usually a really cheap game. You can buy it even cheaper on sales, and since it's on Steam, sales are happening all the time. Like I personally got it for like $5, I think, and it has free online play, but it has a option to have like a subscription-based thing, and it also has in-game purchases that you can do for extra things, which brings me to my next point: microtransactions. So I'm trying not to let this video run too long, but microtransactions really irk me. They irk me even more than subscriptions do. And I think but for me, that is entirely dependent on how that microtransaction is implemented into the economy of the game. Okay? So say you have a game that allows you to buy weapons early through microtransactions. Say you're like a level 1 character, but there's weapons that you could use at level 2 and 3 or 5 or whatever, and it allows you to buy those weapons early to give you that advantageous advantage so that when you get to the level that you can use it, you can immediately use that weapon that is greatly more powerful than anything you find just lying around as a weapon to use against whatever you're using it against. Or gives you boosters to boost your experience level up or things like that. I have problems with those like that actually affect gameplay. When it affects gameplay, I have a problem with it. Games like Smite that do experience boosters, it doesn't actually affect gameplay all that much. All it really does is thrust you into queues that you're not ready for. So it actually is not really all that advantageous to get an experience booster on Smite, particularly until you are good enough at the game to actually get to that level. But other games that have experience boosters and things like that, the real ticket here would be mobile gaming. Mobile gaming has a real problem with microtransactions in games. Wanting you to like buy gems to be able to do this thing faster and things like that, because they have horrendous wait times for like building this building or whatever, and it is entirely engineered to get you to purchase those microtransactions simply because they enable you to do that, because they say, oh, but we gave you the game for free. All you had to do was download it. You didn't pay anything for the game. Well, here you go. Now's your price for a free to play. I want to highlight one game, and one game only, that I believe that does free to play right. Because honestly, free to play games are the biggest offender when it comes to microtransactions in a lot of ways. Now, when a free to play game implements microtransactions for, say, like outfits or something that only really that doesn't affect gameplay, and it only actually just affects like your appearance, like say with Overwatch and their loot boxes, which is another problem. I hate loot boxes, but with their loot boxes only actually giving you cosmetic skins and emotes and things like that, it doesn't actually affect gameplay in any way. Those are fine. They're just, I do think that they are cash grabbing little things that they're using to get more money out of you, yes. But it doesn't affect gameplay. So it's entirely up to you as to whether or not you want to purchase that for your, I don't know, to make your appearance better, I guess. And Smite does the same thing with that as well. But other games have, and I can't think of any right off the top of my head right now because it is like 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm doing this because I'm an idiot. But other games have pay-to-win mechanics. Others have just incredibly frustrating mechanics that incentivize you to purchase this thing that does affect your gameplay and your experience playing the game. Those I have a problem with. One game I think does free-to-play exactly right: Warframe. Warframe is on both PC and console. It is free to play on both. It is free to download. You can play the game entirely at no cost to you whatsoever. None. You can play the entirety of the game all the way through. You have all the content available to you except for, I think, some exclusive things that are exclusive to certain countries, and one exclusive Warframe, which is like the suit that you use or whatever. It's basically your avatar in the game. That is exclusive to the people who purchased the Founders thing on when the game was still in development. So they helped fund the game, so they get an exclusive thing. I'm fine with that. I do wish that I could get that Warframe, but it's currently unavailable and will most likely never be available again, which kind of sucks. But the entirety of the game is open to you. Nothing's locked behind any paywall for you to get to it. It's all there. While it may be a bit grindy to get some of the things that you could just easily pay to get, like certain weapons and skins and things like that, everything's open to you to get without spending any money. I think there are a few specific things that you do have to spend money on to get, like possibly cosmetic skins for your character and different color palettes to be able to change colors on your character, which does seem a little cash grabby, but it doesn't affect gameplay whatsoever. You don't have to do it. It's entirely your choice to do it. You don't have to do it to forward yourself through the story. You don't have to do it to forward yourself in the game at all. And everything that it does, all it does is give you access to something that you would have been able to gain access to anyway, but you just erase the time that it took to get the item. And I understand that some people would say, oh, well, that's pretty comparable to the game that you're talking about with the frustrating build this building or buy these gems to get it faster. Yes and no. Because one of the biggest differences between Warframe and a lot of other things is that you don't have to purchase directly from Warframe to get those things. They actually have a very flourishing in-game economy using their purchased currency, which is platinum, which, by the way, you can get without spending any money. Because of their in-game economy, say you go out and you go to some planet in the game, you find an item that is incredibly rare, and you take it, especially at that time, depending on what's being rolled through the vault at the time, if it's a Warframe or if it's another blueprint for another item that is incredibly rare to get, you can go to one of the marketplace areas and sell that blueprint to another player for platinum, which is their in-game currency, that is the purchased currency. And then that person will give you the platinum for that item. And then you can use that platinum to buy something that you wouldn't have normally had because you were able to sell an item for platinum. Now, granted, not all items are worth a lot of platinum. Not all items are, some items are worth basically none. It all depends on what is rare, what is available, and what is able to be gotten at that particular time. They roll warframes out at different times so that different warframes are currently vaulted or unavailable to get during that particular time, so those become rarer commodities. So people hang on to those blueprints for those particular things until they're put away in the vault for a while, and then they come out and say, hey, I have this great Warframe that hasn't been out for a while that is no longer currently available and may not be available for quite a while. Would you like to buy it from me for X amount of platinum? And that's how they make some in-game money. There are plenty of people who are able to play that game without spending any of their own money at all whatsoever and able to flourish in the game with getting basically everything that you could buy on their platinum store without actually paying any real money. That is the way to do it. So even though they have things that seem a little cash grabby at first glance, being like earlier access to warframes, earlier access to weapons, more access to different color palettes for your warframes or skins for your warframes, things like that, they also have implemented a way for you to be able to gain in-game currency that you can use to purchase those things without spending any of your own money. Yes, you're going to have to work for it. But that's the thing. They give you the option, and that is the best part about it. Games that are on mobile that want you to buy those gems, a lot of the time they give you gems by the truckload right at the beginning of the game, but it's always during those tutorial levels that they ask you, that they say, hey, spend your gems on this, as an example as to how you can spend your gems, and it doesn't let you progress until you do. And by the time you are done with the tutorial stuff, you either have no gems left, or you might have a couple of gems lying around that you didn't have to spend during the tutorial, and that's it. And then the gems start coming fewer and farther between them to be able to purchase, to be able to get the things, because it's entirely engineered for you to give them as much money as they can take from you by purchasing these gems. Warframe, while they do make their money off of those things, and there are definitely people like myself who have purchased the in-game currency platinum with their own money, but then that goes right back into the community of people who are not doing it that way, who are playing entirely free, and it allows everybody across the spectrum to enjoy the game in their own way. While I may not like microtransactions very much in a lot of instances, in Warframe I saw no reason to hate it, simply because the game itself was an extremely fun game to play in my opinion, and it kept me intrigued for many hundreds of hours to be able to continue to play the game. I even still play the game every now and then, maybe not as much as I used to, and not as long in each play session as I used to, but I do still play it from time to time. So it's one of those things where it is definitely a personal choice to purchase microtransactions, or even, like I was talking about before, the subscription services. You have to weigh the options as to which one is going to be good for you. And everybody has their own opinions about stuff like this. So if you do have a different opinion than me, or if you point out something that I might have said that is stupid or hypocritical or wrong, because I do know that I appear to be somewhat of a hypocrite when I say I don't like microtransactions, but yet I have purchased microtransactions in games. And I know that is semi-hypocritical, but I also only do it, personally, only do something like that when the game is something that I thoroughly enjoy playing. And I can only actually remember 2 games off the top of my head that I have done this in. Smite and Warframe. And they're the only ones that I can think of that I've actually done microtransaction purchases in and spent more than I probably should have on them. But yet they're both still games that I do play every now and then. Smite less so. I kind of fell off the bandwagon a bit on that one. But it's still a game that I don't feel bad about spending the money that I spent. And I think that's what it comes down to for most people. Does it make you feel bad spending this money? The problem is with mobile games, in my opinion, is it's entirely engineered to take that money and make you feel good about them taking your money simply because you get instant gratification from buying it. Whereas everything in Warframe that I bought with Platinum, because I didn't buy directly from their marketplace, wasn't an instant gratification. It was something that I had to wait for and still strive for to be able to make the things that I purchased the blueprints for. So I only kind of purchased halfway. But anyway, this video has gone on for entirely too long for what I was what I was saying, but I do want to thank everybody who does watch this video for watching, and go ahead, give me your opinions in the comments. I will certainly do my best to respond to each and every one that I can. But anyway, thanks for watching, and bye.